Welcome to part 2 of the Battle for the Reichstag diorama build, and today we're going to be focusing on the side corridors between the main hall and the corner towers. And just like the corner towers, there's two identical corridor towers to be made, and it starts with the same style of base that the corners had. So I'm not going to bore you with going through that process again. I'm just going to skip ahead to when that's completed. So we now have two base box sections completed, just like in the first episode. And this is where it starts to differ slightly. The corridor sections are actually just the frontage, mounted against a intersecting cross member for support, and there's three layers to the front and the crown on top. So you need to get all the parts off the sheets of MDF. And as I said earlier, there is two identical towers to be made at this stage. You can see here I've already made the interlocking cross member. And this will be the support for the corridor frontage. And the corridor frontage is made up of three pieces. The first piece being the inner damaged wall section, and that simply fits on the front of the cross member. Next comes the inner detail piece, and on top of that is the outer detail piece. And these are simply dry fitted onto the shape pegs on the front of the cross member and then glued into place. Cross member can be fitted into the box sections that we made at the beginning. And that is basically the corridor sections near enough completed, apart from the crown on the roof. So I'll go ahead and glue all this into place. You can see here, when it's completed, the three layers make up one single, very detailed depiction of the corridor outer walls, and we can just repeat it for both corridors. There's a central pillar down the front of each section, and this starts with one of the shaped column flutes, and there's a pillar support top and bottom, as you can see on this section. That just needs to go on after the central vertical column piece, and it has the same groove section as in the previous video. Once these supports are in place, you can go ahead and complete the rest of the column. There's a support piece that goes onto the top of the front, and this is to locate the roof section, and also some infill walls that cover up the top of the column. The roof section is basically another box section with a downward angled top section, And this is held into place with a infill wall at the front. You can see here. That infill wall can be placed in just before the roof goes on. So here's the breakdown of all the pieces that you need to complete the corridor towers. And this is the final result. As you can see, the central column is finished off in the same way as the corner sections. It's in place. And to be quite honest, it took longer to get the parts off the sheets than to build the corridors. See the cross member, which is the main support, box section for the base, the 3 front panels, and all the parts that you need for the roof section. These all go together really nice and easy. There's no great dramas with this part of the kit, although I'm expecting the next section, which is the main hall, to be more of a challenge. But as you can see here, it goes together really quickly, really smoothly. And again, just using ordinary wood glue. And eventually you'll end up with these 2 corridor units, and these go next to the corner units with the main hall in between. Despite the parts not being numbered, I found the instructions quite clear, and it took 2 hours to build both these sections, and that included the time it took to find the parts on the sheets of MDF, which was probably the longest part of this part of the build. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 3, which is going to be the start of the main hall. I'm going to break that down into 2 sections. I'm going to do the steps and the base, and then do the actual main hall itself. So please join me next time.